What's good, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of Land Grant Podcast Network's Power 2 Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jordan. I'm here with my co host, DJ.
Hey, happy Sunday, Monday, whatever. Whatever day you're listening to it.
Happy holiday, past holiday to those who celebrate. And I won't name the holiday, just if you celebrated a holiday of sorts of the couple that were there, happy holidays to you and to yours. We
Absolutely.
are a day late because DJ decided to have family. And I just, who has family? I
Literally
just thought I
everyone.
thought that if you listen to research, our generation is the generation that just doesn't have family. We all just cut everybody off. That's what the people say.
Well, and I am a strong proponent of cutting people off, but um yes, I did spend time with the fam yesterday. I regret nothing.
That's what we do on holidays. We spend time with the fam.
We do. We spend time, we celebrate, we eat. When I say, and this is one thing I love about being black, when I say that we have more meats than sides at the meal, it was like there were like several plates of ham. I was like, how many hams did we cook? There were several plates of ham. There was a brisket. There was a turkey. There was ribs, brisket, ribs, turkey, ham, chicken. There were chicken wings, and then it was just yams, green beans, and dressing. I was like, I love being black. We are so protein heavy, real
I saw
balanced
that. I
diet.
saw this thing where someone said meat doesn't go in the sides, and Kev on stage was like, "What? What are you talking
Who
about? It
said
doesn't
that?
go in the side? Who said
Me,
that?
of
Who?
course,
What you
absolutely.
lying for?
Trust and
You
believe the
don't have
green beans have sausage in them.
you're not gonna have greens with turkey. Like, what are we talking about?
Smoked turkey at that. Like,
Yes, specifically smoked turkey.
I'm so sorry. Like, there's not a whole lot of vegetables where like you wouldn't put meat in the mashed potatoes, obviously, but like there should be some shredded up chicken in that dressing. There's gonna be some bacon or some sausage or some type of pork in whatever green vegetable, whether it's the cabbage, the greens, the green beans. We're not gonna put, meat in the salad, but there might be a bacon bit. There was salad because my stepmother is big about salad. So every time we have these big meals, there is a salad available, and I just think that is so cute that she does that with us. And people eat the salad.
Got
She'll
to eat
put
the
the
salad.
toppings out. She like picks the big salad bowl. She'll put the toppings out, so we have like a little salad bar. She's like, we need to eat vegetables.
Well, I do not celebrate this holiday,
Oh,
but
are we drinking wine?
as is the case, my wife still made a dinner, and
Period.
so we had Easter dinner. We had lamb, mac and
Oh,
cheese.
oh,
I had broccoli. She had Brussels sprouts,
oh! I
and
love Brussels.
then in the nature of the holiday, she made carrot cake. So
Oh, that's cute. I wanted
yeah,
to bake, but then I didn't feel like it, so I did not.
crazy.
I just, I've had a hard week. Okay, recovering from a freaking what is it? Severe sinus infection. I was like, I'm barely cooking for myself and like feeding myself. I'm not about to go make a cake.
I heard you.
Like, I no, but yes. What was the desserts? I don't think we had. Oh, we had cookies. We had chocolate chip cookies
Can
as
never go
the
wrong.
dessert. Oh,
A
I
classic.
love a chocolate chip cookie. I want to be a chocolate chip cookie, especially with a little salt on top. I'm obviously very hungry as well. I have not had dinner yet.
We
So,
gonna we gonna speed through this because I made pulled pork today,
oh,
and I did a nice little dry rub, so it has a nice little crust on it.
got the little,
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
love,
it's just now ready. I just tasted it before I started recording. Just fall off in your hand. So we gotta
oh,
we
I
gotta.
love pulled meat. It doesn't matter. It could be pork, lamb. It doesn't matter if it's barbecued, carnitas, whatever. I love pulled meat. Brisket, like shredded brisket. All right. Okay. So,
Yeah.
anyways, welcome to Power 2 Podcast, y'all, where we talk about the power of good food. Um,
And the power of family because I just I hope that I love my kids as much as Dion loves his, because boy, he will do anything for his kids, whether it makes sense or not. Dion decided to retire the jerseys of Shador, his son, and Travis Hunter, who he considers like a son to him.
Correct.
One of them maybe eventually would have earned his jersey being retired. The other one would not have ever earned it personally. Um, I'll let you all determine who is who in this scenario. And also, they haven't even gotten drafted yet. Like, yes, they are going to be drafted, sure. One of them, potentially very high, potentially number 2. Retiring their jersey was a choice.
It was. I am going to get on my soapbox for a little bit. I am a certified hater of early jersey retirements. I hate it. 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 You'll never get me to like it. I hate it. Why are we retiring a jersey for anybody when they haven't really done anything yet? Like, to me, I feel like jersey retirement is it marks that you have done something in your career that like warrants that. And to me, I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to go ahead and say Travis Hunter, being the school's only second Heisman winner, absolutely deserves to have his jersey retired, because realistically, is Colorado going to have another Heisman winner? Probably not. Like, dead ass, probably not. But even this is even happening on the women's side of things, where like Caitlin Clark's jersey got retired this year. I'm confused. Like, why are we retiring her jersey? Like, she hasn't even won. First of all, she hasn't won a championship at all. At all. But also, she hasn't even, like, she's only had 1 year in the W. I would feel the same way if Angel's jersey got retired at LSU. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's too early.
She's going to get retired. Paige
I don't
Becker's
think so
jersey
either, but I'm saying, like, in the general sense, because I don't want it to come off like I'm just hating on Caitlin. Like, in a general sense, like, Asia, to me, getting her jersey retired at this point, because her jersey got retired the same day as Caitlin's, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Because she's been in the league for 8 years. She kind of helped put South Carolina on the map. They already did build her a statue, so this was kind of like the logical next step. Like, Candace Parker is getting her jersey retired for the LA Sparks. That makes sense. She's led that team to a championship, multiple championships. Mm-hmm. Like, why are we retiring jerseys of randoms? Like, no shade. Like, why are we just like, you're
full shade over here?
Like, I think I hate retiring jerseys early.
Yeah, I think jersey retirement should be like one of the most like special things that you can do. Like, next to building a statue, there are Hall of Famers who don't have their jersey retired and shouldn't have it retired. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like for example, right? I think Pau Gasol's in the Hall of Fame. Is he?
Who?
Do you know Pau Gasol?
I think he got in like last year or a couple of years ago.
Okay, he's a Hall of Famer. I don't know that the Lakers are going to retire his jersey, because it's hard to when you have Kobe, right, and you have Magic and you have Shaq. You get to that level, it's like, pal, you legit, but like, you can't retire your jersey like that. You know what I mean? Like, jersey retirement should be special, right? Travis again wouldn't have done it this early, but again, as the school's second Heisman winner, the first player to play both sides of the ball, whatever, I get that. That should have happened eventually, and even like. Paige Becker's got her jersey retired, and I was just like, but why? And I understand. And my thing, the one thing that I will give this is, we always talk about giving people flowers while they're here.
Yeah,
Paige is going to be here, but Gino is getting older, and they also don't know when he's going to retire. So you could convince me for Gino.
We'll go ahead and do it.
Paige's now.
Yeah.
Made sense, but it's like Gino was 60. Ain't no way. Come on, be for real.
Well, let me not speak too much, because I'm like, they kind of do have this weird culture of retiring jerseys rather early, like, because I feel like they did it with Stewie's jersey too. Like, they did it pretty soon after she left too, if I'm not mistaken. Like, they've done that with some people before. And
if that's what you do, Like if that's just what they do, if they just retire jerseys on senior night, like for obviously not everyone, but for like certain players, all right, cool, got it. That's your culture. What can I say? You're the greatest coach of all time. Like in basketball, I'm gonna let you have it. But
Yeah, do
yeah,
whatever you want.
to be fair is fair. But then at the same time, right? We're talking about Paige Beckers. What has either of them done to rival Paige? And again, I'm fine with Travis, but Shador is insane. And so I hope that those of y'all who have kids, I hope y'all love y'all kids as much as Dion, because
And that's the question. I mean, that's the conversation is if he's not the coach's kid, like would his jersey have been retired?
no, it was
And
Dion's decision. The school didn't do
realistically,
that.
no.
It was
Realistically,
it was
no.
100% Dion's decision.
And that's but honestly, and this is gonna sound inflammatory probably, but I don't care. I also am such a strong advocate for black nepotism because how many other situations not there hasn't been a whole lot of situations where obviously coaches are coaching their own kid and retiring their jerseys, but if they were, they would, if that makes sense. So like I, he's playing the game just like people who are another shade play the game. Like
Yeah, I don't care.
you
Which
know,
is
but
why I
so to me,
said
I'm like, it is obvious that he's only returned that the jersey's being retired because it's Deion Sanders' kid. But I'm also not about to like let my head blow up over it. I'm just more irritated that it happened so early. Like, at least let the kid play in the NFL for a little bit before we do it. You know,
if they did that, they wouldn't retire that jersey. Anyway, I'm not mad at
which is
Dion,
probably all happened. Yeah,
which is why specifically I said love your kid, because that's why he did it. And you know what? If he wanted that Sanders name up there, Colorado let him do it. That's between him and Colorado. But I just thought that was crazy.
yeah.
Um,
I do like what he said about it though. He was like, where he said, you know, Dion was like, we're talking about Shador. We're not talking about anyone else. He said if his last name wasn't Sanders, we wouldn't be having this conversation. The
yes, because
only
he
reason
wouldn't have
we're
gotten
having this
retired.
discussion is because his last name is
Yes,
Sanders. And I'm
because he
like,
wouldn't have gotten
well,
it retired.
yes. So you recognize, you
And
see what we see.
and you're also the only coach who like. I want people to understand. Maybe Nick Saban, but like most coaches don't have the ability to determine when jerseys get retired. And in general, in most places, it's not even anyone who was on the campus when that person was there, because it's 10, 15, 20 years in the future. It is another GA who's like, we're going to, now's the time to do this for whatever reason. GM, not GA,
I
GM,
was like, who? Okay.
or AD or whatever, or school president. Like Ryan Day, I don't believe he has the ability to go to Ohio State and say, I
We're going
want
to
this
retire
jersey
this
retired.
jersey right here.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even sure. Kirby, maybe. Kirby Smart at Georgia, maybe. Dabo at Clemson, probably,
Probably has a
because
little pull.
Dabo's the
Yeah.
best. But the reason why I say maybe for Kirby is Kirby's the best coach, yes, but Georgia has a lot. Most schools that have a history, you gotta earn it in a way, right? Like Steve Sarkisian can't be like, "Hey, we putting up Arch." They're gonna be like, "We got Vince Young, dog. Like, what do you? We
Like,
had
relax. We got to
we
go
like
back first if we're
we
going to
gonna
start doing
run we
that.
gonna run down some names of people who've come through here." So like, yeah, I'm pretty sure not only are you the only dad to ever do this, I'm pretty sure you're one of the only coaches to ever
Have a
make
say
that
like
decision.
that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also to then be able to do it immediately. They ain't even graduated yet. And I think they're both
No.
seniors. I think they both did 4 years. I think Shador
Uh,
may be a year older. Shador did 4. I think Travis is 3 now. But like,
I don't know. I'm
the
not going to
school
speculate on
year is
those.
not even over. Like, what are we talking about?
He said school's not even over. The season wasn't even a year ago. Like,
Come on, bro.
no, I understand. Like I said, I'm a supreme hater of early jersey retirement. I do love obviously the nepotism that's playing into it because at the end of the day, if one of these Mannings was the coach down at Texas, I do think they do the same. I'm gonna keep it real. The
I
Manning
don't.
family, I do think they
I
would have the same level of audacity. Maybe not retiring the jersey, but there would be a very similar level of audacity with
I
something. I don't know.
I disagree with that.
Child.
So actually, okay, 2 things. One, I have heard that they've done this, but 2, I don't think they would do it at the level that you're talking about. I
No,
have
no. That's what
heard
it's like.
I've
Similar levels of audacity is what
yeah,
I'm saying.
I've heard that they got Arch into the Louisiana State Hall of Fame. Archie. And he wasn't that good. His high school career was ass. But like it's the state of Louisiana and it's high school, and that matters to nobody.
Right.
I don't
Well,
think they would do because like it took a while for like Peyton and like especially like Peyton and Eli with like the Super Bowls and like how competitive they are amongst each other. And literally Eli was on national TV. Like Peyton was like, Arch doesn't text me
uh,
because he knows I'm gonna critique his game. He's like, he probably texts Eli because Eli's the nicer one. And Eli was like, yeah, he texts me. And I be sending him clips of things he needs to work on. Like, I don't think like high
clips of things
school,
he needs to work on is
whatever.
sending
Like
me.
but like I don't I think that family in particular is a little too competitive to like attach their name to that. But only again, the jersey retire. I'm not saying everything. The Mannings are pulling their weight. Do not get me wrong. They very much pulling their weight. You see them in commercials and all the other things. I'm just speaking specifically to jersey retirements names on the stadium. To be clear, I do not want people to think I think the Mannings are good people who are not pulling their who are not using the
They
Manning
are
name to get
definitely
what they want.
right. Yeah, I was like, they're
Please,
definitely the rich family of the football world, like
I
one
am I
thousand
am
percent. I'm just
I
saying,
am
I
not
think that there would be a
naive.
same level of audacity but that's what I'm saying. You said that they had him inducted into the Hall of Fame for wherever. That's a level of
That is
audacity.
not. I'm
That's
sorry.
audacious.
I'm
Like only the Manning family is going to go to that effort because of who they are. Is what I'm saying. The freaking insert random family here is not going to go to that effort for a sucky ass quarterbacks for a sucky ass season in high school. But because they're the Mannings, they're going to take it there. That's what I'm saying. It's that level of audacity. It don't make no sense regardless. And again, Shador's jersey getting retired doesn't make any sense. But because they're the Sanders and he's the head coach and dad and whatever, they have a certain level of audacity that you can have when you have that level of influence. Is what I'm saying.
I want it. I don't want that level of influence, but I do want to get a certain level of influence where I can do stupid shit too.
You know what? I'm screaming. Also, just a correction because I was wrong, and I'm going to admit that I was wrong. UConn doesn't do a lot of jersey retirements. They do a lot of induction into Huskies of Honor, which is not the same thing as retiring jerseys. So what Paige
Oh,
experienced was she got inducted into the Huskies of Honor, which sometimes does not always happen right after they played or while they're playing. Sometimes they don't get inducted in that until a little bit later.
that's right. So
But
her jersey's not retired.
her jersey is not retired. There's only two retired
Paige's
jerseys
jersey's
in.
not even retired, bro.
That's
Please,
what I'm saying.
we need to
There's
talk
only
about
two
something else.
retired jerseys in UConn
We
history,
need to talk
and
about.
that
I didn't think
is
that sounded right, but like I also was the one that said her jersey was retired because that's what I thought they were doing, but they were
yeah,
just putting
yeah.
her in the Huskies of Honor.
And my misconception was the same thing because I'm like, wait, hold on. I actually don't think they retired jerseys because the only two have ever gotten their jerseys retired are Rebecca Lobo and Swim Cash. They're the only two.
And
Other than
Rebecca
that,
Lobo started. I don't know who Swim Cash is to be honest with you, but Rebecca Lobo started the championship. She won their first championship in
she was part of the
95,
first
92, whatever year it was.
She got
90.
drafted in 95,
So
'96.
I think they won in 95, but I can't be sure.
Either way, yeah,
Other
it's a very
other
exclusive thing. Is the point?
yeah, other news. Uh Shannon
Oh, it's
Sharp.
actually sorry. It's actually required that they get into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame before they even get their jersey retired at UConn.
See?
Yeah,
You know what? It's fine. It's
yeah.
okay. Shannon Sharp has been
Oh,
um is under a lawsuit for $50 million claiming that he committed sexual assault and rape. He is arguing that he did not and is dropping some freaky ass one-sided text messages to prove that he did not. I will not comment on this much because we don't know if he did or didn't do it. I don't think the play of dropping them freaky ass text messages helps him. It makes her arguably look a little less sympathetic, but like if he actually did it, it doesn't matter that
it
she's
doesn't
also a
matter.
shit
Yeah,
person
yeah.
potentially. Like the text messages she was sending was wild, but then also, how did you
But
respond
you
to
were
it?
also participating with
Yeah,
her
so it's just like
regardless.
your allegations of her to her allegations of you aren't at the same level.
Yeah.
Don't know if you did it or not. I have one thing to say about this, but do you have anything?
The biggest thing that I'm irritated with this whole situation is that she did file this lawsuit anonymously, and then when he released the text messages, he released her full name, and I just think that's absolutely ridiculous and disrespectful. And if you're willing to violate her in that way, just with something as simple as not keeping her name anonymous, then I feel like you're willing to violate her in other ways. So, because I'm a very firm believer in like to just come out and say that you've been assaulted when you haven't been, that doesn't happen as often as people like to make it out that it does.
No.
So I'm always inclined to believe when someone says that, especially against someone who's such a large figure, because those are the hardest people to get you, like those are the hardest ones for people to believe. You know what I mean? So if you're going through the effort of filing a lawsuit and telling detailed situations in which you had been assaulted, I it's hard for me to sit there and be like, oh, but Shannon couldn't have done that, because realistically, that's a 50, 60, 80, however year old man. He probably could have. I'm not saying he did. All of this is allegedly, but I'm just saying, like, I don't put nothing past nobody. So I just thought that was very disrespectful that she filed that under Jane Doe and has been doing press under Jane Doe, and then you just posted on Twitter her full government name.
Yeah, and the one thing that I was gonna say is, as a man, I would just like to say this. When the news dropped, my response was, damn, can't say that would surprise me.
Yeah.
And so my only thing is this. As men, we need to do better, and just like even thinking about certain things where it's just like, me myself, I would hope that if anyone ever came with allegations against me, people would be like, that doesn't sound right. I don't know. You know, and so my thing is just like, there's a lot of people where it makes it harder to fight if it's believable that you would do something like that. Like,
Exactly.
we're of the age, me and you, where we were in college when everyone was
Oh.
doing the Twitter anonymous Me Too. Well, it was even before
Oh
the Me
yeah,
Too
yeah.
movement. They started again with the Me Too movement, but this was really before that, when like colleges were dropping anonymous pages and talking about people
Yes, I remember that.
who were sexually assaulting and harassing them. And even at that point, there were names where it's like, oh wow, I can't believe that. And then there were others like, okay, that probably happened. And so it's just like, I really think we need to, first of all, not rape and sexually assault people. Like, that's step one.
Hello.
But then step
There's an
two
idea.
is like, we really need to like pay attention and reflect on our relationship with people and women, and like how we're perceived, to where like there is of course a chance that he didn't do this, but the way he treats women, the way he talks about women, the things that he says on his podcast, the fact that he supposedly accidentally
Film that encounter.
filmed an
Yeah.
encounter on Instagram Live, and then went on his show and was joking about it, and like all of
Sold
these,
merch.
yeah, all of these things. It's just like, it's hard to believe that you wouldn't, even if you didn't this time.
Yeah.
And so that's my only thought. We'll find out about this, but like, I really just think, first of all, we could just not rape and sexually assault people. Like, I think that would be ideal.
That would be my
But then
favorite.
also, like, be mindful of how you interact with people, how you talk about women, how you do these things, because like, again, there's a chance that he didn't do this. There's a chance that she's just looking for money, but it's very believable that he would, because of how he acts and talks about women and some of the things that we know that he's done. So that's it. That is my
Very, very,
soapbox.
very, very awkward situation. Very, very annoying. I very much also feel like I would really prefer to get to a point where raping and sexually assaulting, trigger warning, sorry, y'all, but raping and sexually assaulting people is like an actual thing that's like a despicable act. Like, it's really like, I can't wait till we get to a point in society where we look down on those individuals and we're like, ew, you're gross, you're weird. What's wrong with you? Like, I feel like we're still like, people are still like, she could be lying. She wants money. It's like, bro, Everybody who says that they've been assaulted ain't lying. Like, I, I don't know what y'all want. Like, this happens all the time. You talk to enough women and you will find out how much women in general, we get sexually harassed in passing all the time. We get assaulted all the time. Existing in this world as a woman is ridiculous at times. And I just can't wait till we get to a point where it's like people don't feel entitled to our bodies in that way to even treat us this way for us to even go through all of this. But anyways, I am so happy that you put this next piece of news on here because I actually went to a summit recently with the
Talk
Black
about
sports
it.
professionals in North Texas. And I had the pleasure of meeting the executive director of the college football players, Mr. Rich Grant, black man, 36 years in the Air Force. Now he is the executive director of CFP. And I got to ask him about what upcoming changes are going to be happening that he could share for the college football playoffs. Because, of course, as you guys know, me and Jordan have been talking about our thoughts about it and what we think could potentially happen. And so he did share and discuss that, of course, those meetings are happening this week. Tuesday, I believe, is when they start, where they bring all the commissioners in and they start discussing and workshopping what's really going to happen and what can be changed for the next season. And the two biggest things on the docket, first of all, is the seating. That's like probably the biggest point of contention and the biggest point of conversation is how we're going to do the seating. Is it going to be more based on how they did for the entire season? Is it going to be based on bowl game things? Is it going to be like, what is it really going to be based on? How is it going to be determined? Are we still going to do auto bids? Are we not still going to do auto bids? Like all of that fun stuff. And then, of course, whether or not the playoff will be expanded to 14 or 16 teams. Those are like the two main hot topics. But of course, they're discussing a lot of other things with that. But yes, that is happening this week.
Yep. And so, I mean, that's basically it. They are considering the 2025 seating, which is obviously, and for those of you who do not remember, the contract ends after this year. So for 2025, they need full agreement from everyone. But for 2026, it is argued that they do not. And so, yeah, basically that is one thing. And then the other thing is, what is it going to look like in the future? Which of course is 2026 and beyond. I don't remember how long the next deal is, but they're considering 14 versus 16 teams, doing buys, not doing buys, how you get buys, and then also auto bids. And if you remember, with the auto bids, one thing that was discussed is if they get auto bids, meaning 4 for the Big Ten, 4 for the SEC, and then 2 for the Big 12, 2 for the ACC, and then everyone else gets 1. If they were to do that, they were considering, the Big Ten and SEC was considering doing a scheduling arrangement, and the SEC will go to 9 games, which they need to do anyway, and they're probably going to do anyway. That part's not directly tied to this. And then lastly, the Big Ten and SEC considering doing a sort of play-in type situation for the seeds, because it's like we're guaranteed the seeds, so we will make our teams earn it by adding extra games on championship weekend for those spots. First and second seed will go to both teams who make it to the conference championship, but then 3 through 6, if I could count, 3 through 6 would play each other in a 1-game play-in sort of thing for that 3rd and 4th spot. So
lots of logistics to manage.
Granted, the college football playoff is not determining is not determining if the playoff will happen and all these other sort of things, but what comes out of that could then also lead to massive changes in the sport. So something to pay attention to, because eventually they have to, make a decision, because right now they've kind of just been putting it off, but like eventually
someone's got to decide something and y'all got to vote, and we need to know what is going on, because obviously that affects a lot of things, because the college football season is already peeling into the NFL season a little bit. So there already is, like, if we're going to expand it, we have to figure out scheduling. We got to figure out when these games are going to happen, where we're going to slot them, all those sorts of things, TV time, all that, there's a lot that goes into just making these decisions, and then like all the logistics that comes after that. So we shall see.
Yep. And then the other thing that's happening is the NCAA
It's changing everything.
is so essentially like this is a big deal, but it's also not a big deal because it's like they have to do this. For those
Yeah,
of you who know, there is a lawsuit sort of thing on the books that will allow essentially once it's passed, there will be major back pay to former athletes, and then current athletes will be able to get paid directly from the school. In order to do that, they have to get rid of a bunch of rules because there are a bunch of rules that say it is illegal for you
to
to
pay
pay
players.
players. And
Yep,
so then with that, they are also making other recommendation changes. These are all things that are sort of agreed upon with the new settlement thing and some other things that they talked about. And so, as a reminder, if and when the House settlement passes, these are the rule changes that they've agreed to. They just can't adopt until
it
this
actually
happens.
happens. Yeah,
So, number one, athletes' eligibility. Schools, hold on. So, athlete eligibility, this one will allow institutions to provide direct financial benefits to students. As a reminder, this is up to 20.5 million. The second one, it eliminates team scholarship limits for institutions and allow institutions to that provide student athletes with settlement related benefits to provide any amount of the athletic scholarships up to the cost of attendance to any student included on the team roster. This is huge for women's sports, basketball, track and field, baseball. For those of you who do not know the inner workings of the NCAA, Bas- men's basketball, partially women's no, sorry, basketball does not count either. Any sport that's not basketball or football is
hmm
allowed to get partial scholarships at the Division
hmm
One level, meaning you can be on a half scholarship for baseball, you
hmm
can be on a quarter scholarship for track because they give them like it's like baseball has a roster of like 30 or 40, but you only get 15 scholarships. So your best players get full ride, everyone else gets broken up.
Gets
This
partial. Yeah,
what this means is they're ridding the limits. So baseball is no longer only going to have 15, and soccer is no longer going to have 9. But essentially, anyone that is on the roster can get a scholarship up to the cost of attendance. How they're going to cap that goes to another rule that I will bring up, but everyone can get a scholarship now. There's no more
period.
scholarship limits. The second one is the third one's a continuation, which is basically just saying for 25 and 26 they can pay up to 20.5 million. I don't know what that means. Establishes requirement for student athletes to receive settlement related benefits, including benefits that may be received during the student's athlete's period of eligibility, provided the student athlete certifies. I think this one is basically just saying that as long
About
as a
them
student,
saying,
yeah, as
yeah,
soon as a student athlete is eligible to like be in school, then they can receive benefits. The fifth one establishes sports specific roster limits. So basically, what they said, of course, is like you cannot. Everyone on your team can get a scholarship, but now you can only have so many people on your team.
on the team. Yeah,
Football, right, had 85 scholarships, but certain teams had 150 players because they'd have
yeah.
a bunch of walk-ons and things like that. The thing is now you can't have a bunch of extra players, but they can all get scholarships. So now with football, this is the only one that I know. I believe the roster limit's going to be 105. So they're getting 20 more scholarships, but for certain schools, you're going to lose 20 to 40 players because, again, they may have housed 120, 130 players with walk-ons, gray shirts, things like that. So there's a give and take with that. But all of the because everyone can have a scholarship, there are now roster limits for all sports. Uh, basically, there's another thing basically where they're trying to track NIL. So any NIL payment over $600 has to be reported. With that, they're going to create a website and some other things, and there's going to be some guidelines. But essentially, this is to stop insert quarterback Nico potentially, right? Who was offered $8 million. And basically, they're like, the contracts have to one be realistic. They have to be what do they call them? They have to. I can't think of the exact word right now, but essentially, they have to be like in market, right? Like it has to be around like a determined value,
Oh yeah, like it has to. Yeah, 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 yeah. It
market
has
value.
fair
That's the
market value. Yeah,
there
yeah,
has to be
yeah,
a market value. So you
yeah.
can't be and Ohio State doesn't do this, but like you can't be Ohio State and play a player $10 million just because you want him. They're gonna be like that player's not worth $10 million. Like, we're trying to make this as fair and equitable as possible. I'm
reading this other rule too, and I'm like, wait, what?
Oh, basically, there's another one that continues with this that basically says deals can be reviewed and denied.
Yes.
There is an enforcement entity that they're adding to make sure that schools are following the settlement, that they're in compliance with roster limits, that the direct financial benefits to student athletes are consistent with the benefits pool, and that third-party NIL agreements are being essentially
entered in. Yeah,
they did all of these rules.
They're establishing a task force for this, basically.
Because they did all these rules. They need a way to enforce these rules.
Yeah.
And then the last one,
they're changing some bylaws.
Yes.
Within the they're changing some bylaws within the NCAA like regulations just to make sure that the language is consistent with the change that players will be able to be played. Players will be able to be paid directly by the university, because the biggest like pedestal that the NCAA always kind of sat on was that these were amateur athletes. So a lot of the language within the bylaws is going to have to be changed. Because they're no longer protecting amateurism. Now, they're not professional athletes still, but they're also not amateurs by the NCAA's definition of amateur. So they're going to have to change
but the NCAA's definition of amateur was slave. So
I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to.
It is.
That is true.
And it is not okay. Sorry.
I wasn't going to say that.
Is that better? Indentured servitude.
These people were working for free. Yes, these people were working for free and earning profit for individuals that were not themselves. Yes. What I'm getting at is the reason why the NCAA has been able to get as far as they have without allowing the pay of players is because they had kind of hung their hat on this concept of amateurism and protecting amateurism.
Right. And so the reason why slavery lasted so long is they convinced people that Black people weren't human.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the ads because we've been talking for a long time, and Jordan is getting inflammatory.
I'm not wrong.
No, you're not. I just wasn't going to do that. I'm just mentioning that there's a lot of shit in the NCAA bylaws that is going to have to be just literally just off like semantics is going to have to be rewritten is all I'm saying because of the concept of amateurism that is now null and void because of NIL and the fact that the schools are paying the players directly. Now, does that make them professional athletes? No. It just makes them, and this is something that we even talked about in my sports law class, because it also does not make the student athletes employees of the university. They're not employees. Like they're still students that are athletes. They're just getting compensated based on the compensation that the university is receiving for their efforts. If that makes sense. So it's like, well, that's an employee, right? No.
It's basically just revenue sharing.
Revenue sharing. Yeah.
They are still amateurs. They just,
Yeah, they're not professional athletes is the point though. But there's a lot of like language around it that is going to have to be adjusted in the bylaws. So they just wrote one rule to say we're changing a bunch of rules.
Yes. And with that, we are going to go to our ad break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Power 2 podcast, where we discuss the power of treating student athletes like they're human.
Oh.
Leading to our 2-minute warning.
Screaming, 2-minute drill. I'm screaming.
Yes. 2-minute drill.
Yes.
The NFL draft is this week, and
it's on Thursday.
That may be the only thing that we say. The NFL draft is this week. The first round is on Thursday. Second and third round are Friday.
It's too long.
4 through 7 are all day Saturday.
It's too.
I would like to remind you, and I do hate to do free advertising here. But if you are like me and you want to know who got picked, but you don't want to hear about how
their dog died when they were 3,
cancer,
their mother lost a foot, and then somebody got hit
homelessness,
by a
food
car,
insecurity, ran over
um,
by a bus,
impoverished,
taking
rode
care
the
of their
bus to school 3
siblings,
miles every day
but not the front of the bus, like
in the back, you
and
know.
changed the bus's tire. They were actually the bus driver, like
Actually, they
if you
actually didn't. They actually had school on the bus. There was no building for the
yeah,
school.
right, yes.
So
They ran with the wolves for a couple of years. Like, if you
yeah.
don't want to hear about that, there are two podcasts that I
Oh my
listen
god.
to. They're actually a split because it used to be one podcast, and then the host with the co-host got well known, and so he created his own podcast. There are two podcasts
Oh,
that I
not the
listen to.
co-host got well known.
One, yeah, you better not do that to me. One of them is the Athletic NFL show. They will be doing a live stream, and that one is really good. That's the one I watch every year. The other one is Football 301. That is the new one, but that is also a really good podcast. They're also doing a live stream. I hate to do free promo, but if you want to watch the draft and you do not want to hear insert all the things that we already said, they just talk like they don't, and they actually talk about football, and the draft is muted. Like it's if you are a ball knower and like to know ball and actually want to know if the player is good or not, that is the only free promo that I will give. But I do want to save you all from watching the draft on ESPN. That is the only reason I'm doing this. If I could save you from watching, if I can save anyone from watching the draft on ESPN, I will do that. That is a free service that I will provide to you for listening to this podcast.
Period. This is a college football podcast, so like realistically, I should watch the draft. I'm not. Only because like this draft class, like I will be very, very genuinely surprised if this draft class produces one or two gold jackets. Like it just doesn't feel like this is like a draft class that's about to be like, oh my gosh, everybody here is amazing, and this is like the next generation of NFL players, and everybody's. I just don't feel like that. Like, happy for Ashton Genty wherever he ends up. Happy for Travis Hunter wherever he ends up.
Beautiful gowns, beautiful gowns.
Beautiful guys. Like I watch.
Uh,
I'm not trying to be funny. I watch the draft for the fashion. I will watch the first day of the draft because I want to see what the guys are wearing. Like that's one of my favorite things. Is I want to see like if they're gonna wear, if they're gonna wear a full suit, who's gonna pop out in Easter pink? Like, is someone gonna wear a chain? Who's gonna cry? Like I watch for that. Like I don't
yeah,
really like watching for all the other stuff. Shout out to Reveal Suits. It's a black-owned suit company based here in Dallas. They do a lot of licensed suits, and they are now the official suit carrier for the Naismith Hall of Fame. They provide the jackets for that. So shout out to them. There will be a couple of the
never
guys wearing those
mind.
suits. What?
Never mind.
What?
You said black owned suits. I said I need me a new suit, and then you kept talking, and I said not in my price range. Not in my price range. Not in my price range.
Why? Did you look it up, or you just like
No,
as soon as I said that?
there's no way I can afford it if they're talking about.
No, they're affordable.
the
Well, I don't
official,
know. I don't know how
the
expensive a
official
custom suit is
sponsor
in
of
general,
the
but they do
Naismith.
the Naismith jackets. They
No,
do.
no, there's
Yes,
no way
they
in
do.
hell I
But
can afford it.
they just got that deal. Like
It
that
don't
just
matter.
happened. They've been.
It don't
They
matter.
do
What
have
Denasia, what's the name of it?
reveal suits. Look at me. This is an unpaid ad. But it's okay because I met the founder, and he's a really cool guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But they do
I will
custom suits
bet
for both
money
men
that
and
I
women.
cannot pay for these. Love that.
Wow.
Um,
Anyways,
let
the point is, I'm watching the draft for the fashion. Speaking of which, shameless plug, I did post on TikTok, DE_JAAYY. I did post on TikTok my review of the WNBA fashion because my goodness, those draft looks were everything. So if you want to hear me yap about fashion, please follow me on TikTok.
Okay, hold on.
They're affordable, aren't they?
Ooh. Don't do that.
I don't know how much a custom suit is in general, though.
Don't do that. But they are cheaper than I expected. Their regular suit is $695.
That's not bad. I don't know how
It's
much.
not awful.
Yeah.
It's solid. The problem that I have, so it goes $695 to $995, which is roughly around a good price for the suit. The problem that I have where I get my suits from, which is also good, they offer deals. Like,
Well,
like
he
that
does more like
should still
wholesale
be,
to teams and stuff too.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he'll
yeah,
go to
like that.
LSU and they'll buy 120 jackets for the
Right,
LSU
right, right,
football
right,
team.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I get it.
yeah.
Cause that suit be like 550, which is not that much cheaper. But then they be like, you get the vest free and you get
Not the
20% off your
best.
shirt or something. And
He said, "I get they throw a tie in.
but
I might get a pair of socks."
but I will buy something from here eventually.
Period.
They also have officially licensed linings, and the
Yes.
school that I go to will never be big enough for this. But
Okay.
if in 3 years they did, I would potentially buy my graduation from suit from there and get the school and the lining.
And that is what they specialize in is the school,
And
the branding of the lining.
yeah, if I had money when I was in grad school, I would have got done this for West Virginia. No, I wouldn't have. I don't like blue and gold. I would not have done that. Although the school I go to now is purple. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
This
It's
is off
expensive.
topic as hell. See how we're not talking about the draft? I told you we really weren't gonna talk about it, were we? I did look at a couple of mock drafts, just for shits and gigs, just to see who they thought that the Cowboys were gonna pick, because we have the 12th pick. And it says that so far, I've seen a few mock drafts say that we may potentially pick up Matthew Golden from Texas.
Mm,
Don't hate that. Don't hate that at all. So let's just hope.
hand up. Also, I lied. That 695 is for regular suits. It's for
Oh,
like
not with the lining.
I wear no. I think you can pay extra for a lining. What I mean by regular suit is like I went to Macy's, better
Oh,
quality.
not
But like
custom. Yeah.
I went to Macy's and I got my jackets at 40 regular, my pants are at 38, and I know that those sizes don't go together. I'm just naming sizes.
Oh,
If you
40
wear
regulars.
38 pants, you definitely don't wear a 40 regular
You might.
jacket. You don't.
You might be shaped
You
like
don't. Their custom suits are $9.95, which
Okay.
again is still not awful, but I won't be doing that not anytime soon.
It's a
I love
small
to
business.
support it.
They
I
got to
love to
make
support.
money.
I'm not mad at them. I love to support a black owned business. Eventually, I will come down to Dallas and I will have $1,000 to spend on a suit, and it'll be a suit that I'll wear forever. I
Oh my
love
gosh.
that, but
We will both be rich because our show will be huge because we'll be
mhm,
sponsored
mhm,
and we'll be
mhm,
like
mhm,
needing to buy nice clothes because we're going to be on
mhm,
somebody's,
mhm, mhm, mhm.
carpet asking people questions or whatever it is that we do. Well, I'm going to do that because you apparently are going to shape the young minds of America, but I will be somewhere on a carpet asking people questions.
Yeah, I don't know about shaping the young minds of America,
Well,
but
you
I
are in
will
higher
be.
ed,
I
so
know, but that's not necessarily my job.
you're an advisor. That
Yeah,
is shaping young minds. Child, anyways, what do you have to say about the draft?
it's happening. And the
Bro,
Colts better not draft a tight end in the first round.
crying. Who do you want or what position would you prefer?
Anything else?
Okay, cool.
Like anything besides quarterback. I mean, like I could go down the list. Give me Derek Harmon, please. Give me Kenneth Grant if he's still there, please. These are defensive tackles, by the way.
Mm.
Give me the edge rusher from Marshall, please and thank you. Give me a Mecca Igbuka. Give me Donovan, wide receiver, Ohio State. Give me, there's like 3 good guards, one of them being Donovan Jackson. You just let our guard go to Minnesota. Give me a guard, please. How about that? I will take that. You could give me a tackle, right? I would take a tackle. Our right tackle is always hurt. So you could give me a tackle. You could, there are quarterback,
Anybody but a tight end.
no way
Yep.
in hell. Tight end, absolutely not. Linebacker, as the linebacker in me doesn't like to say this, but I just don't think we need that in the first round. I don't love the linebacker, but like anything else, best player available, please, for the love of everything holy, do not draft the tight end.
Not
Thanks.
for the love, everything holy. I have no faith whatsoever in the Cowboys to make good decisions. So I'm just going to prepare myself for every bad decision that could be made to be made. And that's just where I'm at on it. That is just where I'm at on it. Hoping for the worst and seeing the best is usually how I like to go with things because then it's like a nice little surprise and delight. But yeah, the draft is happening. young men will be joining the ranks of other young men, and the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl again. All right, so let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, next topic.
Not
Power
yeah.
sweep. We are
Talking.
again talking about our final 10 games, in conference games specifically, that you should talk to, that you should watch, that you could pay attention to, that you could care about.
Turn that TV on.
Um, yes. And so this is the Big Ten. This is the best conference in football. This is what we're talking about. Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
It doesn't really matter. They're not. Mine aren't in any particular order.
Okay. Well, name one then.
Gosh, I have forgotten my logic for all of these. I chose Indiana, Oregon. Because I don't know. I mean, I think everybody's watching Indiana this upcoming season because of the season that they had last year, and I feel like playing Oregon is really going to show. Like, are y'all like that or no? Now, granted, Oregon lost a lot of people to the NFL, so who knows where Oregon's even going to be? But I chose Indiana, Oregon.
Fair enough. I chose. I won't start at the top. I'm going to start at the bottom. I have an honorable mention: Ohio State, Illinois. Just
I almost put that
because
one down too.
the Illa butt, we love that
It's
game. Mine is Penn State, Iowa, and here's the thing: Penn State is supposed to be the top dog. They're supposed to be the best team in the country, and I will not let revisionist history say otherwise. They did the thing that Michigan did, and they said Michigan was the best team in the country. Michigan won the national championship. They did what Ohio State did. They said Ohio State was the best team in the country. Ohio State won the national championship.
mm-hmm.
You do not get to little brother Penn State and just be like, oh, I hope they have a good season. Shut up. They want to win a national championship. They want to be Ohio State. They want to be Alabama. They want to be Georgia. They don't want to be little old Penn State no more. They are expected to be the best team in the country and win a national championship.
Yeah, they're the way too early prediction for the championship.
What they did. I will not let you revisionist history this later when it doesn't happen because James Franklin loses games. Point taken. Record that, recording secretary, who is my microphone. Thank you. Penn State, Iowa, because Penn State, Iowa, because Iowa is a team that loves to ruin seasons, and Penn State has a tough season. They play Ohio State, they play Oregon,
tough schedule, yeah,
and I think they play another team, but it doesn't matter. They play Ohio State and Oregon. That alone is going to be tough. We're not doing the whole schedules right now. We'll do that later. But then they also have to play Iowa, and Iowa always has a good defense and may have the best quarterback that they've had in like a decade plus. So Iowa could upset them. It's a game I'm looking forward to.
Period. Where was I? Oh, okay. So so speaking of Penn State, I also had a Penn State game, but I chose the Indiana Penn State game because kind of the same logic, like a mixture of both of our logics. Again, I want to see how Indiana stands up against the best of the best because everybody kept talking about Indiana last year about how well of course they got this because their schedule's so easy, blah 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 blah, diggity diggity diggity, blah blah blah. Okay, well they're playing the what's the word I'm looking for? They're playing the projected best team in college football. So let's see, one of the best. So let's see how y'all do. It's kind of the same logic as Oregon, but Penn State is a little bit more reliable in that sense because they haven't lost as many people as Oregon has.
For sure. Yes, sorry. We're going different directions of our list. My next one is USC Michigan. I needed to find a game, but also that game was low-key a banger last year. And so I think one of these teams is not going to make a bowl game, or they're both going to be fighting for a bowl game. I don't think both of them can be good. There's a chance that they're both bad. So I think that this game is going to have some stakes because whoever wins this game, this may be the one that puts them to 6. And also, it was just a good game last year.
Period. Apparently I really care about Penn State. I chose this game because I chose this game because I had to pick at least one Ohio State game, and I felt like why not pick the Penn State Ohio State game? Very highly anticipated matchup every single year. Always a fun game. So, it feels rivalry-ish, even though I know it's not a rivalry, but it feels like it.
So here's the thing. As an Ohio State fan, We don't have to be rivalry snobs. Everyone else has two rivals.
We don't
I
have to be
I
rivalry
think you should just
snobs.
consider. I just think you should consider them a
Consider it a
rival. I
rivalry game.
understand
I
why
do
they don't.
too.
I
Yeah.
understand why they don't, but Michigan got two rivals, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just you could do it, but but it's not even just us. It's also Penn State. Penn State doesn't want to rival. Their whole thing is unrivaled. Like they didn't even lock in a game. Like everyone else is like, I'm gonna play 1 to 3 teams every year. Penn State was like, we don't want to play everyone every year. Just give us a random schedule because they want to be unrivaled. They're dumb. This is a rivalry game to people who are not rivalry snobs.
It feel like I said, the vibes always give rivalry, short of calling it a rivalry. So, and it always is a pretty good game. So, always might be a strong word, but from what I've gathered from how you speak about the matchup and obviously what I saw last year, it's gonna be a pretty fun game.
Yes. My third one is Oregon Penn State, which I was surprised that you did not do, but I guess
I
you
actually
already had
switched
too
it
many
out for
Penn
Penn
State
State,
games.
Oregon. I
Yeah,
switched it out for Penn State, Ohio State.
makes sense. This is a rematch of the Big Ten Championship game. This is a game
Period.
between two of the three teams who should be there. This is also just the reverse of Ohio State's schedule last year, where they had to play Oregon and Penn State to get to the Big Ten Championship game, and it is going to be hard to beat both. Ohio State did not do that last year. Maybe Penn State will do it this year. But these are the three best teams in the conference until otherwise stated. It is also, again, a rematch of the Big Ten Championship game, so the stakes are high.
Speaking of USC, I chose USC Oregon because I just feel like I just feel like it's gonna be fun. I just feel like if there's gonna be a team that's gonna quote unquote upset Oregon, it could be USC, and I would love to watch it.
I disagree with you, and I wish that I could agree with you, but I just think what's actually going to happen is USC is going to push Oregon to the brink, and then they're going to make a stupid ass decision because their coach sucks.
And there's always the added element of the coach being asked, but in general, USC, I don't know, USC had a couple of moments where I was like,
yeah, for sure.
Okay, I see it. And again, Oregon is not as strong, quote unquote.
Facts. My next one is Illinois, Indiana, because I am going to project that the Big Ten gets a fourth team into the playoffs again, and it is going to be Indiana or Illinois in my projection, which means the winner of this game may decide the fourth playoff spot. I think Illinois is the Indiana of last year. They're the team that people aren't fully recognizing. They're bringing back a lot of players. They were young. The quarterback came back. Like, this is the team that can win 9 to 10 games. And they also have a pretty easy schedule to do it. Indiana did that last year, and they're hoping to stay at that level and not fall off. They're hoping to prove that last year was not a one-year wonder. Well, only one of them can get in. So I think that I think the fourth best team is going to be, of course, there's a chance that it's always Iowa, and this is mute, but I'm going to say it's going to be between Illinois and Indiana. So that gives this game a lot of importance.
Period. I chose the same because of Nebraska, not because of Michigan. It would just bring me, and this is just a purely personal choice. I know this is not based on analysis at all. I'm just going to keep it real. I really would love to see Nebraska beat Michigan. That's all. They probably won't, but I really would like to see it.
It would be amazing. It'd be so
It would be my live stream.
Yeah,
it really would be.
For sure. And then my last one, which, come on.
Duh.
Ohio State.
I didn't pick it because I knew you were going to pick it.
And I appreciate you for not picking it. I was like, why did you not pick it? And I was like, you did that for me.
I did. I was being
You did that for me. Thank you.
I knew that no one can describe this game and the weight of it better than you. So
no, thank you. I appreciate that. And I would just like to say, I won't get on a high horse about this game today. I will just say, for those of you who think Ohio State fans are crazy,
y'all are.
I will answer the question that people are asking. Ryan Day will not get a pass if he loses to Michigan. Now, will people ask for him to be fired? Yes.
Yeah.
Will it be as many people as previous? Absolutely not.
Oh.
The national championship does still matter.
Oh, yeah.
But it won't matter in November. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's not going to be this thing where we're ever okay with losing to Michigan. Again, will the fervor be as bad? No. The national championship does buy you some things, but he still has to win this game. So,
Yeah.
like,
No.
the
Yes.
answer to the question, no, he does not get a pass. And people are gonna be like, no one's asking that question. They are, because I just read I just didn't read the article because I didn't want to hear that person's opinion on it. But like, people are doing mailbags and they are asking the question, and the answer is no. Now, will he get death threats? Hopefully not. He should have never
Yeah,
gotten
that's a
those.
lot. Let's
Will
not
his
do death
address
threats
get
over
posted
sports.
online? Hopefully not. That should have never happened either.
Yeah, we're doing too
But
much.
I don't think it would reach that level of anger because he did win a national championship. But I will tell you that he does need to win this game. This game does still have stakes, especially considering that, again, Michigan is going to be bad. I know people don't think it. And I will save it to the summer when we go through their roster and you won't recognize a single name on that roster.
Oh,
I'll wait. But they're going to be bad again. So he does indeed have to win this game.
that is just crazy. Anyways,
And honestly, if he wins a national championship and then in the same year beats Michigan and then goes to the Final Four, which we're not calling it in football yet, but we should,
we
goes
definitely
to the
should.
Final Four and he doesn't even have to win.
But
Don't
just
let
get
him
there.
go to the championship game. All is forgiven. Maybe
Oh,
not
we
for
will.
me. Maybe not for me, but for most people, like in the same year, national championship, you beat Michigan, you right that wrong, and then you go back to the national championship, whether you win or not. Ryan Day, don't mess it up. Don't like. There's a chance that you get to erase your history, and in 10 years, all that we'll say is Michigan cheated. True or not, it is true that they cheated, but that's not the only reason they beat us. But the revisionist history is going to be Michigan cheated, Ohio State won a national championship, and then they went on a Saban-like run, even though it won't be a Saban-like run, but we're talking revisionist history. If you have this year, that is how you will be remembered in 5. I'm telling you now. Beat Michigan, get to the Final Four, preferably the national championship game, and you'll be loved forever.
And that is why I didn't put this game on my list, because I would not have had that much sentiment for that. But I mean, yeah, it's going to be one of the biggest games of the year. It always is.
That's why they call it the game.
Period.
All right, let's wrap it up. 2-minute warning.
I'm gonna let you go first because I don't even know which. Oh, I do. I do know my 2-minute warnings.
My 2-minute warning, as has been a trend and will probably be a thing for a while, it is about a TV show. It is about X-Men 97. If you spoil this movie for me, it is about X-Men
Act like
97.
you know me for 5 seconds.
It is about X-Men 97. I watched it. I should not have watched it. It pissed me off that I watched it. I will tell you a quick thing about myself. I typically do not watch shows until there are at least 2 seasons because I'm impatient, especially when the show is good. I watched this show. It was excellent. I watched 10 episodes straight. I was up until 2:30 in the morning. I've talked about it on this podcast. I'd be asleep by midnight. I got to episode 5 and I said, I have to finish. It was like 9:30. I was at episode 8. It was 1:00 in the morning. And I said, I can't go to sleep. There's only 2 episodes left. I was up until 2:30 in the morning watching this show. I watched 10 episodes straight. It was almost perfect. And it's just like,
now you gotta wait.
But if you haven't seen it and you also don't mind waiting, it is a very good show. I love the DC like adult cartoons because the people who run their live action stuff, horrible. The only live action DC thing that has ever been good is the CW, and they went too far. All of the universes go too far. When the Arrowverse was Arrow and Flash and like one other show, it was cool. And then they started doing all the other stuff, and it was just and then they started doing like series where like it was 4 episodes and you had to watch 4 different shows to get to that was cute when it was 2 shows. It was cute when it was, Sinners 1 on Arrow and then Sinners 2 was on the Flash and that was it. When it was Sinners 1 on Arrow, Sinners 2 on Flash, Sinners 3 on DC insert bullshit, Sinners 4 on insert bullshit, Sinners 5, that's fucking insane.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I'm missing the shows, but they expanded the Arrowverse to like 5 shows, and I don't know if you remember this, but there was a time where they would do combo episodes where it was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I know what you're talking
yeah,
about. I just
so
didn't know
like
it
they
got that
did that,
far.
and it started with them in Flash, and that was cute. It was nice, and those were the 2 best shows. So most people who watched Arrow was also watching Flash. It didn't matter that it was fine. And then they added another show, and it was the DC Legends or something, and it was like, 3's a little much, but like maybe. And they added another spinoff, and it was like, all right, please stop for the love of God.
Everybody, take a deep breath.
So X-Men 97, very good. I mean, I watched 10 episodes straight and was up to 2:30 in the morning. I don't think
I
I can
love
give
this for
you
you.
a better,
That was a great review.
like, I don't think I can
I,
give you a better review.
I,
But I will say, if you are an emotional person, you may not want to watch it. You should still watch it. But if you're an emotional person, you will probably cry.
you won't be crying. I was crying actually watching Harlem on Prime because it was the last season of Harlem, and I cried for like the last 3 episodes because it was just like not even because it was like ending, but because like it was just so relatable. Like it was just like, oh my god, like what? Anyways, my 2 minute warning is that there is a movie that came out about 15 minutes ago, and I feel like I'm behind already. Like I have not gone to see this film yet, but everybody is talking about it so much that I feel like in some weird way I have seen it, but also in some other weird way I have the strongest FOMO I've ever had in my life, and
And
that
it's
is
only been
Sinners.
out since like Friday.
It has only been out since Friday. It has only been out since Friday, and I feel like if I do not go see this movie in the next couple days, if I will get a spoiler, and I'm gonna be pissed. So, Sinners is out. It's a Ryan Coogler film. It's with Michael B. Jordan. Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan have been working together since they were literal infants in the entertainment industry. Think every movie that you know Michael B. Jordan for, Ryan Coogler was behind it. Let's just go with that. The whole Creed series, the what is it? Something about rain. Like their first movie they did together, something about rain. Anyways, the point is,
Fruitville Station?
there we go. That was totally wrong thing. Fruitvale Station, the whole Creed series, Black Panther, all of that. That's all Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. So that is a new film that is out. It is a horror film. It's a vampire film, is from what I understand. And the enemy is white people, so I have to go watch this. I mean, I do. I have to go watch this. I live for the Jordan Peele, Ryan Coogler era. Speaking of Jordan Peele, I just saw the trailer for his newest film coming out. I cannot wait to watch it. It's called Him, and it is about the terrors and the extremes that athletes go to perform at a high level. I'm thoroughly excited about it, but it is about football athletes, and y'all know how the NFL feels about movies that makes it seem like the concussions be too much, but they do. These niggas be crazy. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is the internet is making me feel a very strong sense of FOMO. And so the next thing that I will be doing is I will be buying that ticket and I will be going to see Sinners because I've got to see it. And I want to see it in theaters with other people.
Yeah, I'll be watching it this week.
So yeah. And my best friend wants to go see it too. She's more into horror movies than I am. I'm not a horror movie person, but like Black people do everything better. So I'm gonna go see a Black horror film. So
I also heard it's not very scary.
I heard that too. Like it's a couple jump scares, but it's not like crazy. Because it's really the horror is more like the story, kind of like Get Out. Like, yeah, there's some moments where there were some jump scares, but the real horror of the film was the fact that they were using Black bodies as commodities. Like that was the scary part of it.
On it.
So,
like the NCAA. Well, as always, we thank you for listening to this episode, and we will be back next week where we will have a recap of the NFL draft. See you later.
Oh my God.